Ready?
Good morning. We're ready. We'll call the meeting to order. And you have an offer?
Yes, we do. First, let's go through the items on the blue sheet that are not going to be included in the packages that we passed out later. One thing I need to clarify in regards to the Kansas Water Office #1, this was my omission, and so I apologize. We accepted the Senate position. However, we would like to have item #1 with the Kansas Water Office discussed in omnibus. I omitted that yesterday, so I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, and I think I had that on my sheet also, so.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that was.
Let me talk to my committee.
Yeah.
You okay with the omnibus on that? We're all in agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so the next items, Department of Education, again, that's going to be conferenced in a difference conference committee, so will be the House position on #1 and 2. I believe that's everything on page 1. Nothing on page 2. On item #9 on page 3 for the Board of Regents, we take the Senate position. Page 4, the one remaining item on, no, wait, I take that back. Number 2 and 4, again, are with the Department of Education, so that's going to be conferenced in different bills. So House on #2 and House on #4. Item #1 for Wichita State University, that's going to be included in a package. You'll be seeing that later. On page 5, items 1 through 10 are included in a package, so you'll see that later. Page 6, items 11, 12, 13, and 14 included in the package. Uh, 16 will be included in the package. It should be included in the package, so we'll discuss that later. So 16 and 17. Number 20, House. #1 for the Governmental Ethics Commission, House. 18. Oh, number 18, Senate. DCF, under item #1, you had come back with an offer of $7.5 million as a House modified. We will take your modification. Item #8 on KDHE Health, House. Under KDADS, items 1 through 8 are going to be included in a package. On page 9, under, I think it's on Highway Patrol. Yes, under the Highway Patrol, on item #4, and I just need to have some, or we need to have some clarification here. You had a Senate modified stating that the jet would be Kansas made, and this might be for Senator Clays. You had stated last night, going back to the previous language, so that was still trading in or selling the King Air, correct?
Correct. The purchase price of the jet is $10.5 million. The sale of the King Air is roughly $1.5 million. The appropriation there is $9 million, State Highway Fund. So that is the reason the King Air was included in the first place, and it's throughout. And we're not willing to keep a aircraft that is down so frequently and has such high maintenance costs. So we would be unwilling to continue to hold on to that aircraft.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we had the language from last night in regarding the jet has to be made in the state of Kansas, but we're going to trade in or sell the King Air. Correct? Okay. So we take the Senate position on that, and then also on number 5 in regards to that as well. State employee pay, we'll probably just say that we're going to have the House position, but it's going to be modified, and that in consultation with others, in the language that we currently have, it says that the judge and non-judge employees of the judicial branch, we would have them stricken from that. So they would be included in the 5%. That's the only organization or department that would be subject to the 5% increase. But you'd still have the exclusions that we have listed. So it'd be the judge and non-judge employees. And then just going on to the other items, Department of Education, obviously House, because that's going to be decided in a different conference committee. Wichita State University is going to be a package. Department of Commerce with the Job Creation Fund, House. KDHE Health, House. And then for fiscal year 2025, Wichita State University is in a package. KDHE Health, House. 2026, Wichita State University package, and also in fiscal year 2027. And so we can have the packages passed out to the Senate. I would like to note in regards to the package that was offered to us last night by the Senate, we do have a different package for package A, so you'll be receiving that. And then in regards to package B, we did have some concerns in regards to the contents of Senate Bill 146 being included in the package. And then we did have some questions about the digital streaming services. So at this point, we would not accept package A or package B.
I'm not going, no way. Do you want to go over your packages or?
I can do that. And obviously, these are going to be subject to change depending on the decision made by the conference committee on the Senate. Package number 1 is going to be extremely similar to the package that we offered prior. It's all of the items for KDADs bundled together with the only exception, and this was offered earlier yesterday, which is in regards to the home and community-based services and IDD waiver, 20%. So that's the going back to that same offer. And then on package 3, it's the bundling of all of the community colleges that had submitted items to the Spark Advisory Committee. There were some modifications that were made in regards to some of those submissions. So you'll see for Cloud County Community College, that was reduced. Cali Community College was reduced. And then also Kansas City, or KCK Community College was reduced as well. So that's all bundled together. And then package 4 is in regards to the rural housing program. So we have basically made a modification with $20 million for the moderate income housing and then $20 million for the rural housing revolving loan program.
I guess I'd have a question on your housing deal here. So the first one, you're adopting the GBA?
Technically, no, we're not adopting the GBA. There's a change in the amount from the GBA, and then there may be a different way of financing the GBA. So no, we are not adopting the GBA.
And on the 50 million, still looking for federal dollars?
Yes,
And if we get federal dollars, we won't use the SGF?
correct.
And if we don't get federal dollars?
How that is broken up is most likely, and this is subject to change, I just want to preface that. The 20 million for the moderate income housing would be subject to federal dollars. The 20 million for the rural housing revolving loan would not. That would be SGF. And the reason why is because there would be constant reporting in regards to the revolving loan program, which would only complicate issues. So it would be split. So the moderate income housing, yes, federal dollars. The rural housing, no, SGF.
Senator Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you're, instead of the 50 million that was in the GBA, there's actually 40?
40 total.
40 total. And then is the 35 an addition to what? And I assume the original governor's budget of 20 million is still in there, so this is another 35 in addition?
Yeah, this 35 million is going to be, as it listed out, for a new agricultural production facility in Kansas with a county population greater than 34,000.
And that has nothing to do with housing?
No,
That's an entirely different thing.
it's for economic development.
And that hasn't been in the budget before?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Seeing none, please proceed.
I believe we are
That's it.
done with our offer.
Okay. Senator Hawk.
So, thanks, Mr. Chairman. We have something in your budget on page 7, item 8, which is a KDHE. And know a lot about that. I happen to read the Attorney General's opinion. That's on the MCO thing. And so I have some questions about that. You kept with the House position. I think we've stayed with the Senate position. And one of the footnotes I happened to read in the Attorney General's opinion was extending contracts if that's not approved by CMS or the feds. There could be a complete withholding of federal dollars, so it's sort of concerning. So I'm just wondering what the rationale is for that in the budget. I noticed it keeps coming back on your side, and we keep not agreeing to the House position. So I thought maybe we ought to have some conversation about that before we run out of time.
No, that's fine. And I'll best way I possibly can describe the House position in regards to that. This was brought in committee, and obviously this was also a House bill that was in the Health and Human Services Committee, which was extremely important for some members of that committee. And so it was brought forth in the budget in regards to the contracts with the MCOs. And so we are holding that position on the House in regards to extending those contracts with the MCOs, because there is a process that is going to be taking quite a bit of duration in regards to those contracts. I will also state that we are looking at different language in regards to that particular item, and that's why we are holding on the House position.
So do we know what the MCOs think about this particular item?
I do not, we do not have any knowledge of what the MCOs think about this particular item.
And I'm going through my files, and I think I'm seeing another letter from Chief of Staff that raised several questions. I'm just curious if you got that letter.
I did receive that letter, yes.
Some of those concerns certainly give me some pause about whether we want to go this direction at all. So I just didn't know if there was any other information your conference committee had on that we ought to at least know on the Senate side. I don't know a lot about this. I don't think we've dealt with this on the Senate side.
Representative Wolfmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can probably help you with some of the information on this. So because I was on the Health Committee and on the Appropriations Committee when this actually happened. So just to be clear, this is 20% of our entire state budget. This is $4 billion we're handing over in a no-bid contract. So when we were in Appropriations, this came forward and was offered to be put on our budget. We had not even one piece of paper in front of us to tell us what the offer was. It was very different when that happened than what happened in the Health Committee. So this is a very dangerous proposal. So when we originally had it in Health, this was the most interesting thing I've seen in 12 years, and interesting not in a good way. This bill had no proponents. My conference committee partners here have heard me say this, but I think it's worth saying again, there were no proponents. No one would claim the bill. We don't even know where it came from because the person's name who was attached to the bill said they wanted nothing to do with it. It was not their bill. So we had a long list of opponents to this bill, and yet no proponents, and no one seems to know the reason for this. You know, all I can say is this does nothing for Kansans, nothing good, but puts a Medicaid program at risk. And even the Attorney General, in his opinion, says that because these regulations do not forbid the state from extending its Medicaid program without prior approval, but they do establish possible consequences for such a course's action up to and including complete withholding of federal funding participation. He further says, first of all, this is a very narrow opinion. He just simply asked the question, can the legislature change their procurement process? He did not say that what we are doing is legal. In fact, he has a section, potential legal challenges, and says this may still expose the state to litigation. This has happened in the past, and I think we remember in the past when there are FBI investigations. So I am just alarmed with this, don't understand this, don't understand who this benefits. To change any contract, all parties, I think we all know all parties have to agree. So the MCOs would have to have agreed to this. The federal government would have to agree with this. We just can't do this unilaterally. I think this is dangerous, dangerous territory we're treading on. I will not put my name on this under any circumstances. It isn't broken, but I think we're attempting to break it. So, you know, I'll just say we're handing over $4 billion with no accountability, no bid, nothing. It's very dangerous to the Medicaid program. So I hope that's helpful, Senator Hawk.
Thank you. I'm glad I asked, and seems considerably more serious than I noticed on the blue sheet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other questions? Seeing none, what time do you guys go back on the floor?
We go back at 10, sorry. But I think we're going to break for calendar. And I think Representative Wolfmore has a question.
Yeah, I had a question. I guess it would be for Senator Clay's old habits. On the extend funds to study the operations and finances of the Kansas State University Polytechnic campus, and consult with post and secondary institutions on assuming responsibility of the campus. So that's a proviso I know you're offering, and I'm trying to figure out where that came from. I don't, if it came through a Senate committee or was talked about, or, you know, I'm not aware of it.
I miss you guys too. No, that came from me.
So, because I have to say, in the past, it seems like provisos are something that maybe came through a committee or came to the floor and we didn't quite get it done and everyone agreed to do it on both sides, but just an idea, and no offense to the maker of the idea, but it's from one person that the rest of the legislature hasn't been involved and doesn't know about it, seems a bit of stretch to me for us to consider.
Sure. Well, first off, it's just a way to get a plan together should it be necessary to take such an action. Second, I've been in this body for a decade. I think each of us here has been here at least that long. I have seen the programs there go from the first in the nation, ranked third in the nation, dropping all the way to 34th in the nation. I've been told to give the new president a year. I've been told to give the new provost a year. I assume here in a few minutes I'm going to be told to give the new president a year. And I'm running out of years. So I want to see something done. I'm frankly surprised that K-State wants this campus, considering the way that it's treated. And I would like to see this proviso in there so that we have an alternative available to us, should that be necessary.
Senator Clays, I'm probably not getting in so much into the validity of the idea, is the fact that there's been, before we do something like this, it seems like we should gather a little more information from all parties involved instead of just an idea that one senator had, no offense intended.
Sure, no offense taken. Again, it is the study. That's what this is. It is the information gathering. That's exactly what this is. So this proviso doesn't take any action whatsoever. It asks the Board of Regents to simply look into what that would look like should we go down that road so that we have that information in front of us. If it's not feasible, this body can make that determination. If it is, perhaps there's a better route moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Representative Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I have a question on the digital streaming service. One of the reasons we kind of were, the chairman said we had a lot of questions. Do you have language of this proviso?
Yes, we do. Dial in if you have that available.
Can we get that? I don't think
Jill?
we've received any language.
Yep. And what it does is it reduces the appropriation, but then it makes that same amount of appropriation to the State Finance Council. So when you see the two parts, you're seeing what amounts to a line item, veto-proof item.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Clays, for having the language presented to us. I don't see any other questions on the House side, but I do see Senator Hawk.
Senator Hawk.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment on provisos in that I remember being in this room when Senator Brattle was here, and there was always a challenge about legislating too much through provisos. I think maybe I recall his position was we shouldn't do any provisos. And I think that was a good cautionary thing that we do want to be careful on both sides, Senate and House, I think, in terms of taking our colleagues and the citizens of Kansas out of the legislative process if we do too many things with provisos. And I think the proviso is good, that we're able to sort of duct tape and WD-40 some things together that maybe we should have gotten done in the process, but I think we have to be really careful that we might go too far with some things. So I think this is a good discussion to have on that, as maybe we have a little bit of restraint, that we let our agencies and the people affected by government know when we think something needs to be addressed, but that we want to be very careful that our ideas are fully vetted and we have good support and backing to know what the consequences and unintended consequences might be to some of the provisos we put in here. So thank you for that discussion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, so you have caucus now, and
No, we go on the floor at 10, and I
Okay.
believe we're going to have calendar after we recess at 10.
Okay. So what time do you think it would be?
I would say tentatively, we could be back in conference 11:30.
Okay, let's shoot for 11:30.
I'm assuming the bill that we have above the line today is going to be a very lengthy discussion.
Works for us.
All right,
Okay, we're adjourned till 11:30. Thank you.
thank you.